Hi and welcome back. This is Cetria, C-E-T-R-I-Y-A, and today I am doing a marker review. But in truth, I know it's a cheap markers, Crayolas, but can you do watercolors with them? So in today's video, as you can see, I already opened the box. I couldn't help myself. I had discovered at work, because I quickly did some Crayola stuff just to do some cheap sketches at work, and by accident I found out that the washables can actually become like watercolor. Who'd have thought? Anyhow, I checked up online to see how much the Crayolas are, and these are roughly maybe 25 bucks for 100 colors. And quite frankly, Crayolas actually do blend. They just don't blend, let's say, a Copic, obviously, but they blend enough that it still makes some interesting artwork. And I'll probably do some more Crayola doodles and whatnot for the future, especially if I'm doing a lot of like sticker designs and chibis and stuff like that. But before then, I was wondering, since they are washable and they do dilute with some water, perhaps I can make some interesting illustrations with these markers. I have done one illustration prior, and I am going to go ahead and do another demo for these markers. And with that, I've picked 3 markers out of it in random. So in a way, I'm doing a 3 marker challenge also, but as a watercolor washout. So quick thoughts on what comes up with these guys. These are the thin markers, but not the super fine tips, so they're pretty broad tip markers, and you get 100 colors. And as you can see, there's a lot of nice blues, a lot of grays, a lot of greens, purples, pinks. I am a fan of the color purple. I do wish there was even more purple, but quite frankly, I am quite happy with what you have here. There is a color key chart on the top, and I mean, they don't really mean anything because most all cheap markers, the caps don't really match with the colors. You're gonna have to, you have to test them out. And unlike alcohol markers, when you layer Crayola markers, you get a much deeper and darker color pretty quickly in comparison to alcohol markers. When you layer them, you get like a gradual darkening of the colors. So this box set doesn't have the actual names of the colors, but say if you bought the 40 marker box set, that does have the name of the colors. And again, they don't really mean much in anything for you, so it don't matter. So I have done a color key, not a key, but just to see in general what the colors I have working with me. And again, since the Crayola markers don't have numbers, so there's not really a reason to make a color key, but I just did it just to see what kind of colors I have working with to begin with. So here is just a test out of the colors. I did layer them a little bit, and I have to say that these look pretty good. This is probably after 2 days of drying. The colors stayed to their saturation, and I'm just pointing out, and I'll probably point out again in this video, that Crayola markers are not light fast. So if you let this sitting out in the sun or whatnot, they probably will fade, and I'm sure eventually these will fade over time. But these colors are pretty vibrant, especially if you want to do some quick concept sketching. And I can show you an example of what I mean by like concept sketching. So I just did some scribbles of color blocking for characters. That I'll eventually be drawing some of the illustration, just to make sure that the 3 different game races are very different and distinct. And this is just, like I said, this is just quickly to come up with ideas. So if ever I was doing a lot of concepts for like stories, games or whatnot, and you don't want to sit there and pull a computer, but you have 100 colors to your name, this is pretty, this gets the job done. So these are just some examples of what I've used with the watercolor markers, and this sketchbook has a better set of papers. but I tested out in my bigger sketchbook, and now I really know that like the papers make a very, very distinct difference. One thing is that you can't really feel it yourself, but whenever I'm touching the paper, this paper didn't pick up or lift up when the water hit it. Whereas in the demo, I used another sketchbook and the water kind of almost ate the paper. What I also like about Crayola is, again, they don't bleed through to the other side unlike other markers. So that means you can use the other side. These were done probably about a month ago. And again, the colors are they're quite vibrant. And these are just rough sketches and rough ideas for illustration that I will eventually work on. And you can see that it has quite a beautiful gradients of colors, some blooming effects, and all of that awesome jazz, mixing in some colors and things like that. And again, just little ideas. So that's part of the reason why I purchased them. Most of the illustrations that I'll probably do with the Crayola markers, I'm gonna go ahead and scan in, but this is why I'm doing this review demonstration, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get right into the demonstration. Okay. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and test out some of these colors and make sure this actually works on this paper, because some papers just don't really work with the Crayolas. Let's see here. Just go ahead and get some random colors right here. Sort of kind of doing a 3 marker challenge with this guy. Alright, making sure that this works. Yep, and it works very well on this paper. So going ahead, mind you, I only bought this like sketchbook at the $5 and below store, so it's a cheap sketchbook, not really worth much of anything, so probably can't really handle a lot of colors, but I think this is a good start. So there, I went ahead and did a quick little illustration, probably a little bit of spots that I need to erase. This is a new sketchbook just to test out the front cover, because the current sketchbook that I'm in is doesn't take like watercolor all that well, but the testers on this page came out pretty well, and you can even see like there's like fading from the start of the edge, and I think this will be a pretty cool book. So let me go ahead and make some sort of thing with this, because I decided to go ahead and just use those 3 colors. So let's start with that. So what I do for these guys, because I've been kind of like messing around with them for some time, is I just basically go with where I want the darkest color to be and lay out the Crayola washables here, and then I don't put it for the whole area, so like I'm not going to color where I want the highlights to be, so I went ahead and just leave that as that. See here, and I think I'm going to make her pretty magenta in her hair. I think I like the magenta. I'll probably actually try to make it like pink. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do a couple of light strokes for where it's supposed to be the darkest. And then from there, going in with a lighter, softer wash for more water. And I'm sure it'll probably look much better in a better paper for sketchbook, but the thing is with Crayola markers, they are not permanent, so if I were to have this book for a very long time, I'm sure the color would probably fade somewhat. So far I've made a couple of artworks for about a month now, and they've been pretty okay, but I keep them out of the light, so the sketchbook stays closed basically, and I do like the color vibrancy, and for 100 colors I think that's pretty cheap. Yeah, I think that's not too bad, I'd say. For $100, it's definitely, well, not $100, 100 colors for $20 is not too bad. Again, it's not really, whatchamacallit, it's not light fast, so over time you don't want to be having this out in the sun. This is on the other side, so you can kind of see there's a bit of buckling, but the markers don't bleed through because, again, it's Crayola. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a quick little bit of gel pen highlights. Just to add in a little bit of that. A little bit of shoujo sparkles, because you just gotta have them sparkles, right? So yeah, thank you again for watching. Hope you found this video helpful. Please feel free to leave a comment or request for another video or any questions you have, and I will see you next time.